business and what are we trying to achieve and how is that aligned on the AI goals that we're trying to sort of implement into our organization as well. So they're probably the 5 points that I would highlight.
Thanks for sharing those 5 pillars. Sorry, 4 pillars, let's say. So, Dan, leading Thinkly, what challenges have you encountered in aligning talent development with your AI initiatives, and how have you addressed them to achieve sustainable innovation?
Um, so the challenges are real and they're still happening. One of the key challenges, first of all, I gotta address it. We are lucky to be here in this region because of the youth, right? And the really like young population that and schools are providing education around deep tech and emerging technologies, AI, and furthermore. So that's an advantage. I gotta address that first. However, there is a gap. There's a gap in knowledge between the technical and the theory of AI and actually that business acumen. I think there's still lack of understanding how AI can serve us and work for us as businesses, but also like on day-to-day basis. There's fear. I'd like to address that. The top question, number one question I've been asked from a lot of people is AI going to replace us? I'm like, no and yes, but and it's a long answer. But the question is like reframing how we look at it and understanding how can you use AI as a tool. Again, it's a tool to really help human to elevate businesses and grow. And right now, with the latest studies, especially moving to Gen AI, we're talking about growth. Businesses want to grow. It's not about efficiency anymore. It's really about growing businesses, tapping into new opportunities. So bridging that gap is very important. Now, what are we doing about that? I think as a startup, it's easy for us to embrace that. I do address and make sure that big organization address it as well as experiential learning. You gotta, when we hire people, we gotta give them room to actually go and experiment and ideate. The previous or the traditional way of management, clock in at 8 and leave at 5 and stay at your desk, and that really has to change because we need to give them room for creativity to go and ideate and do their projects and learn from experimenting with the tools. So that's a cultural change that the organization need to have as part of advisory, especially when we're talking to big organizations. They do not have that mindset. Second challenge is speed. Oliver mentioned speed, and I totally agree. This technology is going so fast. Our learning is so slow. We can't catch up with it. We just hear about it, we want to react, and it's really important to find different ways of learning. So sending your employees to a training course and getting a certificate is not enough anymore. You need job shadowing, you need rotations, you need online training, on demand, you need like peer-to-peer mentoring, you need a lot of options, and the biggest thing is collaboration with other industry partners. So that's the second one, is the speed of technology. So third challenge is, I would say, has to do with the collaboration, the ecosystem. So it's not about having teams that are technical. So it's like, okay, you got the data scientists and the analytics and the developers sitting here. Now once we use AI to solve business problem, we've got to create multidisciplinary teams. So the teams has to be diverse. So you would have the data scientists, you would have the business subject matter expert, domain expert, all coming together to form that. So now your team structure looks different inside the organization to address the gap in collaboration piece. And the third one is, I think it's an ongoing challenge. We don't have a clear answer about it, is the AI ethics. Because of the technology is going really fast, you need to train your people and make sure that you already address the AI ethics or governance in place, create more transparency and accountability, and that's going to go back to cultural change. So all of these challenges are here, and really how to address them is start with the work, as Abdulrahman said, leadership, mindset has to change. The way we do business has to change. Luckily, as a startup, it's easy to influence that. If the founders believe in it, they're gonna go do it. But it's the challenges in the big organizations, and how can you collaborate between government, educational institutes, industry, technology. All of them need to have that as a priority, digital upskilling, to adopt and use AI for good.
That's a great insight. Thank you.
Maybe.
Dr. Sure.
I would just want to add maybe something, and you said it about like certification or online course, etc. And I think with that gap, there comes out a big opportunity, because you don't need those anymore. If you look at the young talent, and we speak about talent, you don't need the Harvard certificate anymore. You don't need that. You can directly show I can do it. So I don't need a paper that says, oh yeah, Oliver has done this, and he has an A in this, and a B in this. No, I can show through AI and through my skills, I can do it. So also when we look 10 years ahead, everything should and will change when it comes to hiring talent. You will not go through the assessment center anymore and say, this is the statistic for blah, 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 blah. No, show me what you can do.
Right. Hackathons are good for that, right? Like that's
Exactly.
the thing. But the question is, are big organizations using that? Because they're still doing the traditional method, right? Like, show me your credentials before I hire you. Now, all of this has to change. So imagine the disruption that this technology is bringing over.
Yeah, that's why I said in 10 years.
Yes.
Not now.
Yes.
Don't be
Yeah.
scared.
Yes.
You have time to catch up.
Okay, and that leads us to Dr. Ahmed, big question. What, with your extensive background in AI research, how would AI reshape the future of work?
I guess we are not starting with simple questions for me, but that's totally fine. I would say the short answer is a lot. The impact of AI on the future of work will be transformational. Whenever I evaluate the impact of AI, I like to take 4 lenses. What's the impact of AI on humanity, on the economy, on the workplace, and on individuals? So even if we look at humanity, us as humans, we've been developing our civilization for years, and we've managed to reach to some level of prosperity. But we still have many grand challenges ahead of us. You know, we want to eradicate poverty, cure cancer, solve climate change, challenges that we can solve with the way we work today, challenges that require us to leverage AI. And this is an important lesson for us. AI will not take over our jobs, rather AI will help us supercharge our journey and development to solve our grand challenges. And this is what we need to focus on. Now, when we take specifically the future of work, if we apply the same lens and look at it, you have a technology that enables you to work more efficiently, have a better customer experience, and have a better products and services, or pioneer more. This means that the future of work, or the future of organizations, will look very different. The future of work would be hybrid, because we'll have humans and AI working together to deliver value. The future of work will be autonomous, because all mundane and repetitive tasks will be automated. And the future of work will be creative, because now we have a different kind of employee or a collaborator that helps you to leverage your creativity, leverage your innovation. I bet we would see organizations and operating models look significantly different, where we will have less people operating the organization and more people focused on innovation and creativity and growth, as you've mentioned earlier. So that's my short answer to the question.
Thank you. Now, just a little bit more general question. How can companies balance the need for technical AI expertise with the importance of soft skills, such as creativity, critical thinking, which also need the academic field? It starts from the academic field. So who can
Yeah, I think when it comes to skills needed, and that's not only in AI, that's right now in business generally, you do need the hard skills and the soft skills. So the hard skills, yeah, we need data analytics, we need to to know how to read the data. We need to understand what computing is, data processing. If you're an AI, we're looking at machine learning and deep learning programming. Those are the technical hard skills. But not everyone needs to have all these technical. You need to have some understanding, and then you need the soft skills, which has to do with design thinking, critical thinking. You've got to have collaboration, communication, like how to communicate with the other team, simplify the technology, understand business value, like all that need to have to be in place, and really growth mindset. So when you're working with in a fast environment, how can we be fast, adaptable, and move fast with, and experiment with these technologies?
That communication and collaboration is an underestimated challenge that we all face. We face it now, we're going to continue to face it as people become more in tune with their technical skill set and so forth, right? So whether it's the creative technical side or whether it's the soft skills side, we still are human beings and we still need to develop strong communication skills. We can't rely on AI or anything to do with technology to do everything for us. Like you mentioned, it's going to enhance what we do. It's going to speed up what we do. So the communication side and the human side and that connection in building rapport with your colleagues and so forth and collaborating, that's always going to be crucial.
Yeah, and I would also say from an individual perspective, it's intrinsic motivation. So if you are not motivated to work on what you want to do with AI or how you want to work with AI, and even being curious enough to see, okay, there's more than ChatGPT. And if this intrinsic motivation is not directly fired up, then you will lose very fast. Because, as said before, it's about speed. If we look back just the last week, ChatGPT was king, DeepSeek was king, now ChatGPT released O3, then Claude is coming out with something new, etc., etc. So you have to be motivated to understand what is really happening, look behind the hype and say, okay, let's give it time. Next week, something will be different again, and so on and so on. And this is the responsibility that you have as an individual as well. Because in the past, it was easy to rely on, if we look at bigger corporates, on the system of the corporate, and I will have my job, and I will have that. Now, as an entrepreneur and building a startup, the companies that are founded this year, in 10 years, look way different than companies that were founded 10 years ago. Because, as you said, the operating model is completely different. Everybody will be way more responsible, and one of the main responsibilities is to understand how can I deliver my core product as a person within the company through AI in a manner that somebody else directly understands it. And this is now way more important.
If I also add a point. It's an interesting point about communication, but I would say not just communication between us humans, but if you think about the communication between us and AI. Today, we have at our fingertips the most intelligent technology that humanity have ever experienced. I guess one of the most critical skills would be not how to have the best answer or which AI model, but actually how to ask the right question. If you develop this skill to ask the right question, that can 10x your progress compared to others. Because we're leveling the playing field. Everyone has access relatively to a similar technology, but how can you leverage it to its fullest potential?
Okay, we've got 3 minutes, so before we wrap up, let's do something, a quick fire round. I'll ask each of you a fun question. Just give me the first answer that comes to your mind. Dano, if AI were a superpower or just a superhero, what would it be?
Flash. Access to human knowledge throughout time and space, and give us real-time, prediction of what's going on. Seems history is repeating itself a lot, so we need to manage that forward better.
Oliver, what's one AI tool or technology you personally can't live without?
Yeah, so sorry, not so short, but if you would have asked me a year ago, ChatGPT. If you asked me a week ago, DeepSeek. Now it's like, okay, let's see. And just what I found really interesting, I think Y Combinators, everybody knows about it, and I listened to a podcast from a roundtable and so on, and they asked, okay, where do you see AI, so the state of AI right now? And they all said it is at the start of the internet bubble. So this is where we are right now. And if you ask me the same question, in a week it can be different. In 1 year, I can't even imagine what it is.
Okay, Dr. Ahmed, if you were a student again and could go back to university days, what is one course you wished you had taken?
Interesting question. One of the best days in my life, to be honest. Maybe not a course. When I was doing my research and my PhD, I had the opportunity to be a visiting researcher at the Alan Turing Institute in the UK. And I had the option between doing that and focusing on my startup and entering the accelerator program. So I had to choose the startup. So far, it's looking like the right decision so far. However, if I had no constraints, I would rather go into that super deep level of research with the Alan Turing Institute. It's a 6 months placement that I'm sure it would have been a lot of fun.
Interesting. Abdurrahman, if you could have lunch with one person, dead or alive, who would be that person?
Okay, so as a Muslim and as a man who's passionate about humanity, there's only one answer, right? And that's Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So
Perfect. Thank you, alayhi salatu wasalam. This has been an incredible discussion, really. I have huge thank you to all of you, our amazing panelists, for sharing your expertise and perspective. Thank you to our audience for being